A subject I've touched on a lot as I've been documenting game libraries is Namco and Nintendo's intense hatred for each other. Namco becoming infuriated with Nintendo's business practices is a large part of why they got in early on the PC Engine. And in April of 1989, over on the Famicom side of things, Namco's in the middle of closing out every single project they have for the system, quickly pushing everything out the door before their licensing contract expires in July. Wonder Momo is one of the big symptoms of this feud. Despite a rocky arcade launch, Wonder Momo had become one of Namco's flagship titles, and they weren't bringing it to the Famicom. The PC Engine was the platform that was getting the port of this one. The arcade game Wonder Momo ran into some trouble on release. It infuriated a segment of Japanese arcade goers because the game had you play as a woman. Yes, this really had them up in arms in 1987. Some said it was because of the risque presentation of the game. There's a lot of flashing panties. Most of those people just seemed to be unhappy that there was a woman in their game. Those people quieted down, and Wonder Momo became regarded as a bit of a classic of the Japanese arcades. What is all the fuss over? Well, it's basically the final form of the Spartan X style beat-em-up. The ones where you're locked into a single plane and people rush at you from the sides. The plot of the game is that it's a stage show based on the special effects superhero shows that were popular in Japan at the time, and I guess still very popular in Japan. And the plot of the stage show is that Momo is a superheroine from the planet Lilicot. She's come to Earth to fight Wall Demon, an army of evil monsters. At this point, you've probably noticed something about the PC Engine version. They've toned down the sex a lot. In the arcade, Momo can't even really move around without her skirt popping up. And the panty shots are almost entirely removed in the PC Engine version. They only appear for a frame or two when Momo takes some particular actions. And yes, I'm annoyed that I had to check. Momo starts out in her human form, and as she defeats enemies by kicking them, which you do by pressing button 2, she's building up her wonder meter. Eventually, a whirlwind will swoop in, and if she jumps into it, she'll spin around and transform into Wonder Momo. While in her Wonder Momo form, the wonder meter gradually drains, and if it runs out, she changes back into an ordinary high school student. If you miss the whirlwind, don't worry, you can still transform whenever you like. It's just it's a little more complicated. You see, rather than turning left and right instantaneously, Momo will turn to face the audience for a moment. So if you want to change without the whirlwind, you have to face the audience, and then mash button 2 until she starts spinning. In Wonder Momo form, Momo's kicks do twice as much damage, she doesn't get stunned by weaker enemy attacks, and she has access to the Wonder Ring, a disc that she throws when she attacks, pass through weak enemies, and rebound off of strong ones. That rebound matters a lot because Momo has to recollect the ring before she can use it again, and it will bounce around the screen for quite a while. The ring is the best weapon to use against the boss monsters, which come out at the end of every stage, and Momo has to defeat them in order to continue onward. The PC Engine version has 12 stages, down from 16 in the arcade, and Momo recovers a bit of health and wonder once the boss is defeated. Jumping is a little bit unusual in Wonder Momo, since you jump much higher if you're pressing up when you hit button 1. You'll have to do this to reach a lot of aerial enemies, since they tend to fly out of your reach. If you run out of health, then it's a game over immediately. You only have 1 life in Wonder Momo. However, you can continue as many times as you like, although continuing only gives you half your health back. After defeating enough enemies, the audience will throw a capsule up into the air. Some of these will restore health, but for some other ones, if you're in Wonder Momo form, then Momo will do a super attack, stopping in place and spinning around. She'll fire to either side and quickly destroy all of the enemies in the area. The arcade version had an additional super attack, but that's been removed for the PC Engine version. There's one other way that the audience interacts with Momo, and that's with a photographer who will run up and take a picture. When he does this, Momo can get blinded by the flash and stunned for several seconds. There's one more thing to mention about Wonder Momo, and that's how it's absurdly hard. That carries over from the arcade, but in the arcade I feel like Wonder Momo was difficult because the enemies did so much damage and would prevent you from transforming. Wonder Momo on the PC Engine is difficult because you're constantly flooded by enemies. They never stop, they come at you from all sides, and you will get overwhelmed. The game's even a bit unfair since enemies will spawn right on top of you where they'll hurt you but you can't do anything to them. I only got about halfway through the game while I was playing, and I spent a lot of time struggling on a few stages. While Wonder Momo never got a direct sequel, Momo became Namco's go-to character whenever they wanted to throw in a cute girl. So she turns up in some form in a lot of Namco games. The PC Engine version of Wonder Momo is pretty well regarded by Japanese fans, though even they regard it as absurdly difficult. When I played Wonder Momo in the past, I hadn't really been fond of it. The game always felt a little too simple for me. One of the benefits of this project is giving all of these games a fair shake, and this time I could actually see the appeal of Wonder Momo, and I'm not talking about the panty shots. There's a rhythm to building up your meter, then transforming. There's also a complication in figuring out how to effectively use your ring. It makes Wonder Momo a deeper game than a lot of these Spartan X-inspired beat-em-ups. That makes me think it's worth giving Wonder Momo a try. It's more than just a pretty face.